Welcome back to This is a Commander channel, where this is a Commander channel, and today we're going to be talking about Commander lands in 2025. I made a video like this for 2024 talking about how that year, 2024, was probably the most, if not definitely, the most influential year we've had in lands for the Commander format. I made this little doc here. That was what I was using to keep track of all the lands as the sets were coming out. We were looking at both just actual sets as well as Commander-specific sets, and we got a whole bunch, especially because of Modern Horizons. That one was responsible for a good chunk of the lands. I think we ended up seeing a total of 115 new non-basic lands for 2024. And a lot of them were insanely powerful. Things like Urza's Cave is just every card, every land in your deck. We got things like Talon Gates of Madara, which is, in my mind, probably the best land that I got last year for being able to phase out your own creatures as well as opponents' creatures. Really just crazy stuff. We got Three Tree City, one of the best lands to ramp you into Oblivion into an insane amount of mana. So yeah, 2024, a really good set. So I made that list again for 2025, and I'm going to try to make this video a little different than I did last year, just recording the screen here, and I've color coordinated things. You'll see that some have like some coloration to them. That's to show things that are kind of in a they're all similar type lands, kind of in a, some not necessarily a block of 5 types. I also have over here, I kind of put little designators for which lands I think are kind of better than some of the others. So yeah. Let's just kind of go through this list, and if there are any lands in particular that you're curious about, that maybe you missed out on this year, that's the whole point of this video. I'm actually doing this totally off script. I don't have a script. I didn't even make any bullet points other than this list itself, so I might drone on a little bit about some things. But yeah, I just thought it would be cool to just take a look at some of these lands and talk about them and see if you can find stuff that that you may missed, because there was again a lot of lands. I think it was again 115 last year. This year I think we got 86. And if you remove Modern Horizons, actually I think if we look at here, if you just remove, like, Modern Horizons had, look at this, they had a cycle of 10 and a cycle of 20 different lands. That's 30, and also the 20 here was the mono and multicolored MDFCs. So they're not even just purely lands by themselves. So if you remove that, that's 20 less, and then 30 less if you include some of the cycle that they did. Yeah, the sets, the years actually are kind of close. So 2025, I don't know if it's as impactful of a year. We do have some really good lands, but I don't think we have that were as powerful. And again, a lot of that was just from Modern Horizons 3. But let's take a look at some of these lands. Starting off with Amonkhet Raceway. This used the Start Your Engines mechanic that was added. Hopefully we'll see it again. I think it's actually kind of cool because it does scale. I think it'll be really cool if they do more things that care about what your speed is until you get to max speed, and it'd be cool to see things that let you pay or maybe reduce your max speed if you're hitting the brakes to try to do things. There's a lot of cool things that I think that they can do with this Start Your Engines mechanic. The name of it, I'm not sure how reprintable that is, but maybe in a set that we get more vehicles, that would be kind of cool. So this is the one that eventually turns into a Temple of the False God. No, this is the one. Oh wow, I actually gave. Ooh, I'm kind of curious. I might change some of my ratings, because some of these ratings I made originally, like when these sets came out. Oh yeah, technically the first set was Innistrad Remaster. But we didn't get any new lands. It was all a remaster set, all reprints, so no lands. So I might actually change some of these reviews now that I've actually gotten these and used them a bit more. So this is the one that actually grants haste, and there's not a lot of lands that do that. We got another one this year that does grant haste, but it's not colorless. It actually has a red color identity. So this can go into any deck, your mono green decks, your mono white decks, mono blue decks, decks that are traditionally not going to run a lot of haste enablers. Green actually does on some auras. But yeah, that's really good to be able to get max speed. Of course, it takes roughly 3 or 4 turns for this to go online, like a perfect scenario where you're dropping this on turn 1 maybe. But still, a colorless land that can give haste. The only other one that can do that pretty consistently and without exerting itself. Scryfall's been running a little slow, so we might have some issues of it loading. But there was a land. Why did it just search for Toby? There's one, you have to pay 3 life, and it enters tapped. But, of course, you can do it the next turn that it does it. So, let's see here. Let's see if we can just search for lands that grant haste. And we can just see how many lands in Magic that do that. That's why I gave it the 3S rating here, because there's quite a few, but you can see a lot of them have that red color identity. This one actually doesn't do it. The Westvale Abbey, the token that it makes, has haste. So there's a few of these that don't actually grant haste, but Amonkhet Raceway, yeah, Hall of the Bandit Lord, this one you had to pay 3 life, and it enters tapped. So of course, Amonkhet Raceway, you have to wait a few turns for it to come online, so that's kind of like it coming in tapped, but at least you can use it for mana the very turn it comes in. Very, very powerful card. I think that one is going to see a lot of play in a lot of years going forward. So next one is Avishkar Raceway. This one probably not going to see as much play. It also still uses that start your engines. It at least comes in untapped. That's why I gave it the double S rating. But it does say draw and discard. So this is going to give you some card selection. It's not card advantage, but it is card selection. Sadly, it is discard first, not draw then discard. But there's a lot of decks out there that just want to be discarding stuff. So this one really cool, especially if you're running things that increase, replacement effects that increase your draw amount. That's really, really cool. If you have creatures that care about draw triggers, really, really cool. Discard triggers. So yeah. Then, interestingly, I don't know why I gave this one a single S. Murgana Raceway, this one I think should be 3 S's as well. I think this was insanely good. Again, comes in untapped. You can use the mana the very turn it comes out, but it eventually turns into a Temple of the False God or a Ancient Tomb. It eventually becomes a 2-mana ramp. So I think this is a really, really balanced card. It's not going to give you 2 mana on turn 1 like Ancient Tomb does, but it takes a while for it to get to that point, kind of like Temple of the False God does. But missing your land drops is what screws you over on Temple of the False God. Whereas this one, you can just get screwed over if you're not able to get damage in or making your opponents lose life. Still, a really, really good card. I would say this one deserves to be 2 S's, but yeah, I don't know. I think the haste one, I feel like Murgana Raceway is going to see the most play because in general, people of all builds, any deck is going to want more mana at a faster speed, whereas not every deck is going to want haste. The next one is the Verge land cycle. I'm just going to bring one of them up, but we got 5 lands in this cycle, and I don't even, this is the one, this is the one that cares about you having a land type. So pretty good. I gave them all just a single S rating because I think that it's okay. Again, you can at least tap it for colored mana. Actually, let's see. Are they all? Yeah, I think they're not all black. There's a land cycle that we got back in Torment, the Tainted cycle, where you have to have a swamp in order for them to tap for a black or a non-black color, but these are kind of a mix. So yeah, interesting little lands. They come in untapped. You don't have to pay life. Even if they're your first land for turn, you can still get colored mana out of them. I think these are pretty good. We'll probably see a good bit of play from those. Let's see, next we got Country Roads. I actually have not been down this whole list, so it's kind of interesting. We'll be seeing these. I'll be seeing these for the first time in a long time. Oh, okay, so this is a cycle where each one does something different. So let's see, white here lets you sack the land one time, so you can only do this one time, and it does give you a colorless pilot. These do enter tapped unless you control a mount or vehicle. That is probably why I did not give them at least a single S there. Not going to be common in a lot of decks. They all do the same thing as well. It's not that the white made the token. Even I think all of these all just make a pilot token. So they saddle a little better. They crew a little better. Sorcery speed on this effect. Probably not going to see these in a lot of decks. And then we got Night Market here. Let's see what this one does. I didn't give it a letter, so we got a few different options. Okay, now this land, I do remember looking at this one and remembering it's got cycling, kind of like the Triomes. Pretty good. If you draw this late game and you don't need lands, then that's nice to have for cycling. I think this one could have had a better clause for allowing it to enter untapped. Maybe if you discarded a land or something like that. I think that could have been fairly balanced. This is just a common. But, yeah, not a great land. That's probably why I just gave it the 1. Now, this next one I gave, now we're moving on to the Aether Drift Commander product. We only got 1 new land from all the decks. I think this one is the one that lets you regenerate based on creature type If memory serves correctly, I actually do run this in my Omo deck because Omo puts those everything counters on. So if your commander is, man, Scryfall is really, really slow today. If your commander is any of these types, yes, we have, it's Regenerate. It comes in untapped, which is just great. Regenerate, there's only 2 other lands that I can think of in Magic. Let's see, land that mentions Regenerate. This one lets you regenerate. Does cost mana and tap, but it can regenerate. Shade, not super, super common. Skeleton, pretty commonish. Spectre, Spirit, pretty common. Vampire, a lot of vampire decks out there, especially Edgar Markov type decks, but just even outside of Edgar Markov. Wraith, not too common. Zombie, probably the, I mean, there's more Edgar Markov decks out there, but I think that zombie, just in general, is a very, very popular. I think it's like the 3rd most popular creature type in all of Magic. I think it goes dragon. No, probably dragon or humans are up there in 1 or 2 interchangeably. Elves, goblins, and zombies are probably up there. With angels probably up there. I'm just taking a shot in the dark there. So yeah, but there's only, I do run Elephant Grass in my Omo deck. That one's probably not going to see a lot of play because it is a very, very pricey card. But yes, Swarm Yard was probably the most recent, it got a reprinting, but probably one like this. It only requires tap. It doesn't require 2 mana. And then, of course, Yavimaya Hollow regenerates any creature, no matter what the type, but it does require green, so it has a green color activation on there. Green color identity. This one, I think, can see a lot of play. If you've got a skeleton, vampire, spirit, or zombie, those 4 creature types, pretty common. Being able to regenerate your commander, a really good effect. So I gave that the SSS on there for that one. Let's see, this one, I don't think this one's going to be pretty good. I believe this one, yeah, this land, only being able to use dragon spells, and then 4 mana, sack it to search your library for a dragon. I mean, if you're in a dragon deck, that's really good, but, and again, dragon is a very, very common type, but it is very, very specific. If you're not in a dragon deck, then this, or an omen. If we ever get omens revisited, I totally even forgot about omens. That was a thing. Let's see, the next card, I actually gave this one just a singular S. Let's see what this one does. It looks like we got a triple S coming up. Curious. So these actually all look like they're in a cycle. Exile the top card. Okay, so it's card advantage on a land. Pretty good. Oh, yeah, this is Tarkir. So, yeah, these are the ones where they check for the other 2 land types. And, yeah, that's pretty solid if you're just if you ever just get to that point where you're running on empty and you don't have a lot of stuff in hand, then that one is pretty good. But, of course, it's 4 mana, basically 5 because you're using the land itself, and making a token, and it doesn't even, yeah, you have to sack it. If you're running aristocrats kind of stuff, that might be pretty good. It does at least make 2 of them, but not insanely powerful. But when you just need it, this one just makes a single token, and it at least sticks around, so that one not too great there. Let's see, Kishla Village, probably green. Surveil 2 could be worse if you're a graveyard deck, but mono green. I mean, if you're in Golgari or something like that, this one might be pretty good. Let's see how this is. Is this the wild? Yeah, it can't be countered. Okay, so this one in casual, not insanely great. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Mistress? I don't think it's Mistress. Mistress Village. If you're in CDH, though, well, how much does this card even go? Yeah, it's going for a decent amount. So if you're in CDH kind of stuff, this one is just right up there with something like Cavern of Souls. Not nearly as good as Cavern of Souls because it's just the mana itself, whereas this one you have to actually pay into it. But, of course, this makes any spell. So I don't know which one's better in CDH. Is Cavern of Souls better because it can do it without the using the mana and the fact that it can make any color? But does the drawback of it only being used for creature spells, typal, you got to get certain creature types. Interesting. I'm curious as to what CDH community considers to be better. And then we had Dragonstorm Commander, the Tarkir set, Commander set. We didn't get any single new lands from that. This one looks like a big 10-card cycle. This is probably a enters tapped. Yeah, enters tapped other towns. So if you care about towns, then have at it. But these probably not going to be seeing much play for the rest of Magic's history. I don't really see too much. That, not bad if you're in a life gain deck. It is colorless, which is kind of a bummer if that's in your starting hand in a 3-color deck. but it does enter untapped. Oh, you transform, and it costs less for each town because of the town thing. Probably not going to see a lot of play. That's why I didn't give it a really good score there. But if you are doing town stuff, again, another town. It's got cycling for only 2. This one actually might be better than the other one. Cycling is cheaper, and this one at least is guaranteed to enter untapped. A new hideaway land. All right, that's why I gave this one a S. And I remember thinking this was pretty easy to pull off. You may play the exile card without paying its mana cost if you control 4 or more legendary creatures. So not something you could do in every single deck. I've got a lot of decks that will likely have that many legends, especially with a lot of the universes beyond that we're getting. This one even came from Final Fantasy. And anytime I see those decks, they are oftentimes running a lot of other creatures from. It does specifically have to be creature. It doesn't count legendary planeswalkers or artifacts or anything like that, sadly. But yeah, that might be something you could pull off for more of those hideaway type lands. And if you can flicker lands, if you're in using that new land earthbending, then being able to have that sacrifice or flicker and then re-earthbend it again so it can come back, that's pretty good. Town enters tapped, color fixing, not great. Didn't give it a score. The next one I did give was single. Let's see, mill 2 for 5 mana. Then you may sacrifice this land. When you do, return another target permanent from your graveyard. So it doesn't have to be one of the ones that you do mill. It can be any permanent from your graveyard. That's a lot of mana, but it enters untapped, and its colorless can go into really any deck, potentially good in a mill deck. That actually is not bad. Now these lands, okay, so this is the cycle where they had sorceries. These were actually all relatively good. I didn't give Jador. Let's see, this is the one that lets you make, you can bring things back. That's not bad. 5 mana is a lot, and it's a sorcery speed, but still, these lands, they enter tapped. That can be a drawback, but hey, being able to cast a spell and then later play this as a land drop, not too bad. Target opponent mills half rounded down. I don't think many people care about that too much unless you're in a strict mill deck. It is half, so if you're doing the double effects, then that basically means that a player is going to lose on their next time they draw. But it is target opponent. Sadly, you can't target yourself. It's not just target any player. I think that would be a lot better if it was target player, because you could, of course, target yourself. This one's crazy. These wizards that they made from that Final Fantasy set, being able to make these things, just crazy. The amount of effects that they did, whew, that is very, very powerful. I think that's pretty good. In the right deck, that might be, I would probably give that a higher score because that effect is really good. For 3 mana, you're going to be casting a lot more spells. This thing's going to do so much damage. You give these creatures lifelink or anything like that, you're going to gain so much life. And then, of course, you can play this as a land later. Very, very powerful effect. Let's see, sacrifice, draw. Yeah, we've seen that on a lot of red sorceries. And again, it's not bad because it's on a land. Like, you can play it as a land that turn if you need it, or you can, if you draw it late game, you can use it as a sorcery side. I think these, I think all these were pretty okay. And if in the right deck, green, that's 6 mana. That's so much to do. Yeah, I think that's why I gave it not a letter one on that. But those are kind of like the MDFCs that we got from in 2024 with Modern Horizon 3. Oh, this one is not a land on the front side, but it becomes a land, which is why I included it in the list. I think this one's actually okay, if this is what I remember. Yeah, at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's an artifact or creature, you may reveal it, put it in a hand. If you put a card in your hand this way, create a food token and transform. That's a lot. It's 3 mana, and it'll happen on the 4th turn, but it's basically card advantage, you know, assuming if it is the right card types. You also get to make a food, and then it transforms into something that ramps you, and you can then further buff creatures. Not a great buff. You know, when you're backed into a corner and that's all you've got, it is nice. If your deck is really, really themed around +1/+1 counters, creatures just having counters, there's a lot of stuff out there for that. This card, yeah, this one is one of the better ones, I think, of this year. Ish, kind of, not super. It is still a bit pricey. It's come down quite a bit. Dang, the promo is $56. But, yeah, this is like lesser City of Brass and Mana Confluence because it might come in tapped early on. But like with certain ones, you can actually tap it without losing any life for colorless, and then you don't even lose life until you actually go for the colored mana. So, yeah, might see some play over time. I think that's pretty good for mana fixing. If you're in a 3, 4, 5 color deck, that actually seems pretty okay. Let's see, this has got some modal aspect to it. Flip a coin. If you win the flip, make a treasure for 2 mana. So that's basically 3 lands. It doesn't have the restriction on sorcery speed, so that's cool. And then sack 2 artifacts to draw a card. There are a lot of lands out there that for around that 3 mana mark, you might have to have a creature that's 4 power or more. I can't remember some of the other ones. I think you have to pay life based on the colors of your color identity for your commander, like War Room and some of those. So this one's 3 mana, not 4 mana. But sacrificing 2 artifacts, that's a lot. I think, yeah, I didn't even give it a singular S on that one. Yeah, that's asking a bit. Flipping coin, you might not even get the treasures. Yeah, unless you're really, I don't know. I don't see that seeing a lot of play. Then Final Fantasy Commander. We did not get any new lands, surprisingly. That actually surprised me to see. This one looks like it's part of this cycle. Yeah, I'm looking at my reviews here. Honestly, this one might even be 2 S's. Like, that's a really good effect to be able to create. So this is the station one. Not a lot of decks, especially if you're doing CDH, you're not playing a lot of creatures to station, and these enter taps. Probably not going to see play. I know nothing about CDH, so I can't really give too much input there. But in Casual Commander, I know for me personally, a lot of my decks are creature decks. 95% of my decks, if not more, are about getting creatures on board and attacking. So that one, I think I'll probably run this in a few of my decks. Being able to make token copies of an artifact or enchantment you control. You can't keep looping it because, of course, legendary, unless you're running stuff that gets around legend rule. But I think probably the weakest part of these, honestly, is the activate as a sorcery. If these abilities on these station lands were at instant speed, being able to hold that mana open, especially in control decks where you're likely to pass and hold up mana anyways. This one probably one of the lesser ones, the white one. But still a really good effect. Of course, Gaia's Cradle. This is insane. I'm pretty sure this is the blue one that is Tolarian Academy. Yeah, very, very good effects. Again, if you're in a mono blue deck, if you're not playing a lot of creatures, maybe this is not great. But I don't think I need to talk too much about those. I think everybody knows that those are some of the better lands to come out this year because Gaia's Cradle and Tolarian Academy are just that good. This one, I think before I did this video, I had it as no letter. Going back at it, all right, red usually can get screwed over on this stuff, especially when it comes to lands. You do have to sacrifice a land. That is a bummer. That is a big, big bummer. So unless you're doing a lot of land recursion, that might be a big... Who cares about, really, the two-toe robot? The Anthem is actually kind of nice. Who cares if you're sacking a land? If all of your creatures, if you're running a Krenko or something like that, this might be insanely good because all your creatures, if you're a go-wide deck... what's that commander and teamer that makes a bunch of snakes when people are drawing cards? I can't remember if those snakes don't... I don't think they have haste. I think there's one of the... gods, one of the blue-red god makes the insects that fly that have built-in haste, but still, this Anthem might be insanely good. If you're killing players, if you have 20 1/1 creatures out and you're using this to double that from 20 damage to 40 damage, then who cares if you're sacking a land to, close out the game and win? So I think I might even give this one a bump to 2 S's, just talking about that. But the haste is a really, really good thing. Again, there's, as we saw before, not a lot of lands that give haste, let alone haste to all of your creatures. This gives it to multiples. This one you don't even have to exert, like I think the land that gave haste last year, you had to exert it, so you could only do the haste every 2 turns. But it could give it to 2 creatures. This one do it to every single creature you make. So if you're in a go-wide deck with access to red, this one, honestly, it might be really good. Yeah, you sack a land, but who cares if you have 1 less land next turn if you're winning the game. This one could be insanely good. And I believe this one is, last but not least, the black one, which I think did reanimate. No, card draw. Yeah, okay. All right, so you're paying 2 life. Who cares? Life is a resource. This one I think is really good. If you're in a sacrifice deck, aristocrats deck, if you're commander, if you have a deck where you like to cast your commander, if it has an ETB or a cast trigger, then this might be really, really good. Or if it's just a big commander. This thing I think is really good. Again, the biggest negative to these things is activate as a sorcery. Being able to use that like when your creature is being killed, in response, I sack it to draw, like a greater good type effect. But activate as a sorcery, a big, big drawback. Still, I think all those lands are really, really good. We're going to see those a long time. Let's see, what's the cost on even... Wow, they're pretty cheap right now. I would pick those up because if they don't get reprinted, those things are going to go up in price. Let's see. Tap X, untapped artifacts you control, target creature gets. Activate only as a sorcery. Still, if you're in a deck that makes a lot of treasures, if you're in a deck that makes a lot of food, clue, things you don't traditionally use every single turn, unlike treasure, especially because tapping a clue doesn't stop you from sacking the clue later on. If you're in a clue deck, this might be a great way to get up to like commander lethal. I mean, you buff this on your commander, that could be potentially good. This part, probably not going to be used all that often, unless you're really, really desperate to get creatures out on the board. It doesn't say activate only as a sorcery here, so that could be a good surprise blocker, which is always nice. That one, I'd probably bump it up to like an S, a singular S, in the right deck. But that's kind of, every card is kind of like that. In the right deck, it's great, but in every deck, not that great. Enters tapped, a bummer. When it enters sacrifice, unless you... Ooh, yeah, this one's not great. It's a common, not great. Okay, moving on to Edge of Eternity's Commander. We actually did get some new lands. Ooh, okay, so it comes in untapped, which is always nice. Ah, yes, the Hatchling one, and when it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield. So you've really got to build your deck. I think that's why I didn't give it a letter, because that's really, really good. There's a 3-mana mana rock that as your creatures die, it gets token or counters, and when you activate and sack it, you make a bunch of 2/2 decayed zombies for it. That's pretty good, but you can activate it at any point. This deck, the land has to go to the graveyard. Not a lot of people are running graveyard hate or land hate, so they're probably not going to be destroying this, especially if they know that you would get this effect. So you have to really be built around a deck that is sacrificing your permanents or sacrificing specifically your lands for this thing to trigger. If you're not built around that, then that's never really going to happen. But making a bunch of 1/1 flying tokens, that could get pretty good. Late game, if that's been out on turn 1, and now you're on turn 8 getting 8 1/1 flyers. That could potentially be really, really good, even if you're not attacking with them for the flying. Just having more creatures to sack to your Ashnod's Altar, Phyrexian Altar, that's pretty good. Tap land recycling. It has the land types. That's pretty good. We haven't seen that on too many things, so that's at least fetchable for off fetch lands. I gave these, I think this is the same thing. We only got 2 in this cycle, so maybe we'll see this finished one day. I don't think they're continuing any current cycle. I think they were new in that cycle. This next one I gave to 2. Ah, yeah, these are both in the same cycle. These are ones that care about having 2 or more basics, and they actually have the land types again. So they're searchable. So we got the red and white, and then we got the Golgari, black and green. Weird, that's, yeah, two different kind of mini cycles that maybe one day we'll see. All right, Spider-Man, not the most popular set of the year, but in looking at the lands, I can see we did get some pretty good ones. Target legendary creature gains menace. That's actually not bad. If you're in a Voltron deck, it comes in untapped, and you can use it at least for colorless mana. If you're in like a 2-color Voltron deck where, I mean, it does have a little bit of mana fixing for a cost, but that's actually not horrible. This card, I gave it a single S. Yeah, if you're in a Voltron deck, this might actually be really, really good to be able to make sure that you can get through with your attack. Again, sorcery speed, but not the biggest negative. This card, I think, and this, oh yeah, it's going for quite a bit, $11 for the cheapest one. I think this is like a very general shock land. It can only tap for 1 color, but you get to pick out of any of the 5 colors, any basic land, and yeah, and it's again like pay 2 if you want it to come in untapped, so you could just have it come in if you don't need that mana right then and there. I think this card is going to see a lot of play for a very, very long time. Really, really good in multicolored decks. I definitely stick with keeping that one at a triple S rating. Not a lot of utility, but good for color fixing. Okay, this is the new cycle with Surveil. I think this is actually the 2nd cycle of lands we've gotten that let you activate ability to Surveil. I might be wrong. I know there's at least the Surveil lands that do it on ETB. This enters tapped. It's got some color fixing. I don't know. Maybe this sees play if you are a very, very graveyard-focused deck and you're just desperate for that. Yeah, that's right. In Spider-Man, we got 2 lands that are tri-lands. This one, you can actually have it come in from the graveyard with its Mayhem effect. Really, really cool Mayhem. Does always enter tapped, though. The loss of life is only on the stipulation if it came in from graveyard or not. Still, though, if you're in 3-color deck, this could be really, really good for you. If you're not wanting to pay for things like, Mana Confluence and City of Brass, man, they've both been, especially City of Brass, been reprinted a few times, still very expensive lands. That one was 60 cents. So yeah, pretty good if you're in a 3-color deck. This one, again, has to enter tapped. That's kind of a bummer, but if you're in Bant, it's another land that can add any of your colors, and then return a tapped creature you control to its owner's hand. Put this from your hand onto the battlefield. Okay, so that's the web swinging effect, but not with it actually listed as web swinging. I think because web swinging specifically was cast, and this is, of course, you're not casting, you're just putting it out there. Maybe I can't. I didn't really do a lot with Spider-Man, so I'm sure you guys can let me know in the comments. But yeah, that's pretty good. This is in Bant. You can ramp yourself because you're getting this land out. Maybe you again want to just re-trigger ETBs or cast triggers on a creature. That's a pretty good effect. They do have to be tapped, so you got to find ways to tap this down if you're not attacking. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good land. I gave it 2S rating. Vibrant Cityscape, I gave this one 2 S's as well. Oh, that's right. This is the one that's just a picture of Manhattan. Can be off-putting for a lot of people out there, I know. If you're not a fan of Universes Beyond, the art not exactly very magical looking. But it's just another version of Terramorphic Expanse or... what's the other one? Man, I feel bad. I can't. Terramorphic and that one. I think it sees more play than Terramorphic, but I am brain farting because I am trying to go quick. I know this video is getting close to that 30-minute mark. All right, so now we're moving on to Avatar. There was no Spider-Man Commander products. Same with Avatar. Avatar, I think this is the set that gave us, yeah, you can see we got a lot of lands from this set and a lot of good ones. Let's see this. Okay. Yeah, this is, what's the one? There was a land that, but it was 2 colors, Selesnya. Why is it not getting land? There we go, there we go. All right. Wow, there's a whole bunch. There's a Selesnya one, though, on each creature. Oh, no, it's Simic. Put a counter on each creature. Oh, that entered this turn. Yeah, there's that one. Is this all of them? Did I just totally gloss over? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, Gavany Township. This card I've seen win games. It's 2 color, though. This one, you know, there's a chance that it enters tapped, unlike Gavany, which always enters untapped, but it can add a white mana because it is mono white. This can go into a lot more decks than Gavany Township, and it's even the same, 4 mana and tap. Each creature you control, doesn't matter if they're token, non-token, entered this turn or not. I think this card, yeah, I gave it 3 S's. I think this card is going to win games. It's just one of those ones that you sit this land out pretty early on, and then one turn you attack with a whole bunch of people. You activate it after they declare blocks. Some of your creatures are now going to live that they didn't originally think would live, and you might even be able to get in lethal damage. It triggers things. It cares about counters. There's so many cards out there now that care about counters. You know, creatures with counters that you control have flying, have trample, have first strike. Destroy each creature that doesn't have a counter on it. Blue, I think, has one that returns creatures without counters on them. There's so many things out there that this is going to see a lot of play. It's only less than $2 right now. I'd pick a lot of these up if you guys plan to make a lot of decks with go wide or just cares about counters. I gave this one 2 S's because it's the same thing as up again that I was talking about with the Murgonda or whatever the one from Aether Drift. It's at least this one is draw then discard rather than discard then draw. It does lock you into blue though, but you don't have to have max speed for this. A solid card advantage and a solid way to get cards in the graveyard. Get those mayhem triggers, madness triggers, things like that. All right, this might have been what I was thinking about maybe, but this does say sacrifice, so you can't surveil multiple times like the other one, so you can only do the card draw once, and it has to enter tap. So this is not like, what's that, Horizon Canopy, the one that was the very first enters untapped, but you take damage or loss of life when you use it for mana. And this one you don't lose any life, but who cares? Life is a resource. But this one 4 mana though, and then tap sacrifice. So that's basically 5 to draw a card, 5 mana, because you're using the land itself and you're having to sacrifice it. Maybe not going to see a lot of play in this cycle. Looks like we did get 10 of them though. This one is the green. I'm actually watching the Avatar show right now. I think Ba Sing Se is the green one. So yeah, this is the one that Earthbend. I gave this one 3 S's. When the set first came out. I think it might still be pretty up there, but unless you're like really caring about like sacking lands and re-triggering your ETBs, getting those landfall triggers, I don't know. This one may just be a 2-star unless you really build around it. I don't see people just putting this into any of their green decks. But maybe they do. You know, I don't know. Earthbend 2, it's... I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. That one's just part of that cycle. Yeah, I think Abandoned Air Temple's still best on that. Firebending, yeah, this one I gave it just a single S. You have to be able to use that mana right then and there. You're using 2 mana to activate it and the land itself, so it basically is 3 mana to get 4. Is it as good as Ancient Tomb? Yeah, maybe not, I don't know. You have to be really built around that because you have to use that mana right then and there. So unless you're doing activated abilities or instant speed stuff, or you are running cards that let that mana pass over from steps and phases and you don't lose it. Foggy Bottom, I like the name of that one. But that's just part of that cycle that we looked at earlier with the sack draw. Another card that if you just really need tokens, 5, basically 6 mana to make an ally, add only on ally. So yeah, if you're an ally deck, not bad. It doesn't even require 1 mana and tap. So these are next few are part of that cycle. This one is part of this cycle. Yeah, this one I'd probably still keep it at 1S. Create a 1/1 colorless spirit token. You at least get to keep it around, and it is unblockable, essentially, unless people have spirits. This is basically like shadow kind of thing. Not horrible, not great. That's a lot of mana for that effect. And again, if you're backed into a corner, then that's pretty good. Yeah, but you at least get to keep the token stick around. This one has Vigilance, so if you're in a deck that is animating these lands, if you're doing that Earthbend, and you get to scry, and it enters untapped. That's not bad. I'd probably give it a single S just for any land that enters untapped that gives you the scry effect. That's pretty good because we get the 2-color scry lands that have to enter, the temples, I think. They have to enter tapped. But this one you can eventually add in mana of any color. So yeah, if you really like scry stuff, if you're in a deck that does top deck manipulation, Eureka or anything like that, what's the guy that whenever they attack, you can flip the top and then cast if it's odd? I think it's Demir. You know, if you're in a deck that cares a lot about top deck manipulation, this card is probably a definite add. And if you're in a land animate deck, just having Vigilant land, pretty good. Secret Tunnel, yes, this is the one that I think makes them unblockable. Yeah, and it can do up to 2. So the land itself can't be blocked if you're animating lands. But for 4 mana, 2 target creatures you control, they do have to share type, and you do have to have 2 targets. So if you're in a Voltron deck, unless you do run a lot of other creatures that share type with your commander, this is not going to be as good as, let's see, can't be blocked. That's probably good wording to copy off of that. So we'll look for a land because there's not a lot. We got another one kind of recently that lets you also sack it to search for land. Yeah, I think Escape Tunnel's pretty good, but of course Power 2. Yeah, Rogue's Passage. Yeah, that one might still. And then the Black Gate. There's another one that lets you put a shadow. Is this one that's shadow? No, this is one that checks for most life. There's another land out there, but it doesn't use that wording. But it gives a shadow counter onto a creature. I think that and Black Gate are pretty good because that's just. Especially the shadow counter, because you only have to make them unblockable. You only have to give them the shadow the one time. The counter sticks around. But this one's pretty good. If you're in a typal type thing, honestly, Omo. My Omo deck is just getting eaten good. Spoilers today, I got some good Omo stuff, but we're not talking about that now. So yeah, this one I probably should get, because that could be pretty good. Yeah, I gave that one 2S. So yeah, I think that, oh, this is part of the cycle. Is this, no, this is a different cycle. This is one of the, no, okay, that's part of that cycle. Okay, final one, White Lotus Hideout. It is, yep, that's probably why I didn't give it a anything. Lessons and Shrines. I even have a Shrine deck, and I don't think I will run this in there because I already have enough color fixing, and I don't really think I need it that much. Doesn't even have like a special land type for like gates or anything that would care about that. So yeah, there you guys have it. Coming up on 40 minutes. Is this year better than last year? I don't think so. What are some of the standouts? I think, I think that the Start Your Engine lands, I think those are going to see a good bit of play, and because they're uncommon, I don't think these are ever going to be really too expensive unless we go, 5 years from now, they haven't ever been reprinted. I think that Raceway, Amaket, and Murganda, I think are the 2 that are going to see the most play. I don't think the Avishkar one will see much play. Let's see, this one I gave, yeah, the Dune Yard, again, if you're in a deck with that creature type. This one for CDH definitely is probably going to see some play, just because that's a really, really good way to make sure you get through your combo to win. Final Fantasy, insanely powerful set. I didn't give any of them more than 1S. I would probably change that. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I mean, they're again. I don't run a lot of modal. I don't run MDFCs in my decks a lot. I like to run cards if they're specifically on theme for what I'm doing. But just the general value of like, hey, it's a land if you need it, and it's an effect. It's a spell if you need it. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably give them a few. They're very general, good use. Again, if you need it as a land, and you can still use it as a land even after you do the ability. Maybe not as good as some of the MDFCs that we got from Modern Horizon 3. Some of those are bonkers, insane cards. Yeah, Edge of Eternities, I think, is our best set. Maybe with Avatar. I don't know, we did get some pretty okay lands from Spider-Man, but I think Edge of Eternities definitely got the best lands with these station lands. If you're not in a deck with a lot of creatures, or Voltron, where well, if you're in Voltron, you're wanting to attack with your commander, but you can always use the commander to help station. I have an Amara deck that is definitely going to want this, because I like to tap Amara down, and I can do that through station. Even once you're at that 12 plus, like, you can still continuously station. What was the guy, Kilo, that he likes to be tapped down. So if you're in a deck that just likes tapped things down, if you're doing the web swinging, Edge of Eternity is great for web swinging. You can tap these creatures down for the station, and then now you have tapped down creatures. But yeah, I mean, Amara makes tokens, so having another Guy's Cradle is great, but just having that station aspect to it, very, very powerful. I think these lands are going to see a lot of play for years. Again, yeah, I think I'd give that a higher S rank than I gave it before, because haste to everything, card draw. We're talking 2 mana, basically 3, because you're having to tap a land down for the effect as well. 3 mana, basically 3 mana, sack a creature, draw cards equal to its power. I mean, that's, and you don't even have to discard afterwards. That's greater, greater good. I was trying to think of the movie, The Greater Good. That's really good. And it's in black, a deck color that likes to sacrifice creatures. Again, sorcery speed, big drawback, but still, that is a if you get late game and you've got creatures, but the board is at a standstill and you're just trying to draw into a board wipe, you're just trying to draw into a Gary or something like that, then that's really, really good. Edge of Eternities, Commander. Okay, those are the ones that they're both kind of part of a mini thing. This is definitely going to see play for years and years and years, and its price is probably going to go up if it does. Luckily, the wording, I think, makes it printable, reprintable. Bossing say, yeah, I think this one goes down to 2 S's. I just don't see it being used in a lot of just any deck that has green, whereas some of these others, yeah, that one's rightfully at 1S. What's the best one out of all the Avatar? Which one did we not look at? The blue? Where's the blue one? Is it this one? No. Oh yeah, this is on the yellow color that I gave it. Yeah, on it, I don't know which one is the best out of all the Avatar ones. The one that makes a spirit that sticks around, firebending, earthbend. Yeah, they're okay. They're pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I think 2024, definitely a more impactful year, but there's a lot of really good lands that we got this year for 2025. We got Final Fantasy Commander gave us no new cards. Spider-Man didn't have any Commander product, and Avatar didn't have any Commander product. So that's 3 sets that we didn't get any lands from Commander product. So that, I think, might have been part of why 2025 didn't have as many. Even Aether Drift only had 1 new card. Innistrad was just a remaster set. We're getting 6 standard legal sets next year, and I think even a lot of the Universes Beyond ones are going to have Commander product. So that's going to be a bit different than like we saw for 2024. 4 for Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, and Avatar, where we didn't get any. So yeah, we'll see if I think 2024 better year for lands and Commander. And I think 2026 might be better than 2025 just because of the sheer number of product that we're going to be getting, the number of sets. We'll see if how many of those sets we're getting Commander product for. And maybe they are going to be like Aether Drift, where we just get one singular new card from the whole Commander product. Or maybe we get a lot. We'll see. What are your guys' favorites? Are there any of the cycles that you really, really like? Are there a lot of the colorless lands that you guys really, really like? I think we got some pretty solid colorless. Nothing as good as Urza's Cave and Talon Gates of Madara. Those cards are just bonkers. Three Tree City is just bonkers in any typal type of thing. So, yeah, I don't know what would be the best land of the whole year. I think it might be the one that's kind of like a shock land. What was that from? Was that Edge of Eternities? No, what was that from? I think it was Spider-Man. Multiversal Passage, yeah. I think this might be the land we see the most of because it is a shock land. Again, not fetchable, which is a bummer. That is a big drawback, but it is a 5-color shock land. It doesn't fix because you don't get 2 colors, but you do get. It does fix in the sense that you get any of the 5 that you need. I think this will see a lot of play. We just got today some spoilers for a lot of 4-color that we got the Final Fantasy, the Fantastic Four. Everybody was saying FF for it, and that was very confusing because I read that as Final Fantasy. But yeah, we got the Fantastic Four, and that's 4-color, 4-color commanders, and we got a 5th one, 5th creature, legendary creature that was 5-color. So a lot of multicolored, and I think this will hopefully be reprinted with a name like that because $15, $11, that's still a lot. That's as much as City of Brass, I think. City of Brass. Did I just misspell of? I did. I hit a key because my hands are frozen solid right now. Cheapest City of Brass. Golly, it's already creeping back up. 17 for the cheapest. Yeah, because they're not going to get cheaper down here near Arabian Nights. So, yeah. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you stuck around this long, my goodness, I appreciate it. What are your favorite lands? What are your favorite cycles? Were there colorless lands with value? Or there color-fixing lands like Multiversal Passage that you're most excited about? Is it the Edge of Eternities? You think these are the best ones? The Tolarian Academy and the Gaia's Cradle lands. Are those probably the best? Drawing cards? I don't know. I don't know what set is best. Avatar had some freaking good lands in there too. Aether Drifts had some okay ones, but they're all colorless and they're all built around max speed. So what do you think was the best? What are you most excited about? What are the ones that you got 16 what are they, proxies of, because you just didn't want to trade for that many of them and you're just running them in every single deck of yours. Look forward to reading the comments about that. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I think the next one that I'm going to be uploading this year is going to be another AI video. I might, last year I did a video talking about using Google, what's it called? Google Gemini to answer judge questions. So this year I'm going to try to take a look at ChatGPT, and hopefully I have better ways of asking these questions, and we'll see if it does better with a whole new year of AI being trained. Can you use ChatGPT to answer your rules questions? So yeah, hopefully I'll have that out soon, and it'll be another freaking long video like this one. Hopefully this came out all right, and I didn't have any technical glitches with recording my screen and audio. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to turn on my little heater because my hand is freezing solid, and edit this really long video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it all. I've said that now like 20 times. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. Ta-ta.